Hello, welcome back to my channel, where you can expect art studies and talks. This is the second episode where I share my experience and what I learned after completing artist Monex's 100 Portraits Challenge on Procreate class. Last episode, I introduced this course that I completed on Class 101 and shared important tips as learned from the artist to create expressive eye expressions. If you wish to learn how to add those coloring processes to your own illustrations, you can find a link to episode 1 in the description. Quick disclaimer before we move on with this episode. This video is not sponsored by any of the platforms mentioned or in any partnerships. I will also not be showing every mission from the course. Links to the course and Artist Monex's socials will be linked below. This episode is all about the nose coloring process as taught by Artist Monex in the course. If you missed where you can find this course from episode 1, I will link the class from Class 101 in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for the next episodes. Now grab your sketch pad or tablet and let's get drawing. Similar to the previous episode, Artist Monex approaches sketching the nose by first mapping out the form in its most basic shapes. To me, it was easiest to think of this particular nose as a diamond. Even though we begin our sketches by isolating the most basic shapes, we can't forget that eventually our sketch will take on a three-dimensional form. So as we proceed to connect our basic shapes, this idea will facilitate an abstract form like the nose for us. Once we have a confident sketch of more or less the shape we want for the nose, we can get rid of the flat under-sketch shapes we used at the beginning. Now we are making sure to block out shadow planes on the nose as well as the areas where highlights will be. We are still in the sketch phase, so it is okay if our line work is loose or even messy. This is only a guideline. Although we had blocked out the lighter areas from the front of the nose, shading lightly helps us see how the strongest shadows will blend with the skin tone. You can see that our sketch has taken a three-dimensional form thanks to this. Now that we can see how our shadows will wrap around the nose, we can move on to painting. You guys may notice that the sketch is maybe a lot different from the one we just prepared. This is because I lost the coloring clip for that sketch, but I luckily had another painting clip of a very similar angle. I apologize for that. If you want, you can quickly sketch a new nose or continue with what we had. This sketch is the same angle but simplified. By now we have laid out our base colors where we want them to be. Monex then instructs us to block out a squared area on the nose, which will be a highlight zone. Then, with a soft brush, shade around the square lightly with red. I know what you're thinking right about now. But no, it is not a pimple. Trust the process. I also thought the same thing when I was following along. Notice that we only added blue to the darkest shadow areas. This is a very useful coloring technique that Monex shares with us. Using blues in shadow areas allow our figure to have different temperatures of light. This can really elevate your painting. Just make sure to not overdo it. I made sure to blend the heart shadows into their place. Always remember the very important rule of Monex's class. Draw in 3D. The blush on the nose was still too strong for my liking. Even though Monex uses a saturated blush like this one, I decided to further blend it. We are almost done with this nose. Next, we will bring back the main form outline as we had in our sketch. We are going to add subtle highlights. It's useful to lower the brush's opacity for this. After this step, I am adding a light yellow on another layer on top of the lightest areas of the painting. At first, I was a little bit skeptical about this, but Monex explains that adding yellow in this particular skin tone helps neutralize the harsh reds on the nose, as well as unify the colors, making the painting appear more realistic. We have completed the first nose as taught by Monex in his course. How did you do? Did you think it was too quick or complex? Don't worry, we will practice this some more. The next nose will encompass the same coloring approaches, however we will stick to fewer color selections. Let's start our second nose. You can pause the video to quickly sketch the nose so that you can follow along. Just like before, we start by setting down the base colors on the nose. Because this drawing will be finished in fewer steps, we added temperature tones right away. The blue on the bottom part of the nose will blend into the darker peach tone we are using for hard shadows. Also, it is very important that as we blend the nose blush onto the nose, we respect the blocked area for our highlights at the end. Time for my favorite step when following along to Monex's class, the line work. This step is crucial if you want to explore the semi-realistic style. Personally, I really enjoy how the line work enhances the nose's three-dimensional qualities while at the same time flattening the illustration. Incorporating this style of line work is something that I see myself doing in my future drawings. Using line art on highly rendered semi-realistic paintings such as this one allow the painting to head into Webtoon territory. Consider it a perfect middle ground. Monex adds a new layer of transparent yellow on top of the mid-tone area. With this particular mid-tone, this step helps bring vitality and makes the skin tones unify nicely. Lastly, don't forget the highlights. Place them on the area we blocked off and where light will reflect the strongest. Monex introduces adding highlight lines to further define forms. He also places them right next to the dark outlines for an appealing effect. And just like that, we finished the second nose. I have placed both noses side by side so that we can compare them. If you recall from the beginning of the video, we addressed the first nose. The first nose is made up of a wider selection of shadows, therefore it took us a little bit longer to create. Skin temperatures and shadows are more pronounced in a semi-realistic style. Our second nose approach was much more simplified, which allowed us to finish quickly. Depending on the style you prefer, you might find the colors used on this nose more appealing. Personally, I enjoy how easy on the eyes the colors are. Overall, the nose feels much more soft, while the incorporated line work lets the nose keep its three-dimensional qualities. To finish with the series of noses from this class, I will show you one more nose as taught by Monex in the course. This approach is simplified like the second one we did. Here is another chance for you to see how we can use cool blues and warm pinks to address shadow on the skin as well as temperatures. Remember to blend the shadows and colors thoroughly, making sure that there are no harsh lines that mess with our three-dimensional form. Just like the previous video, we need to keep blending in 3D so that our illustration doesn't flatten too much. Once we are satisfied with our blending, we can incorporate the line work that frames the nose. And to finish the illustration, artist Monex advises us to add a transparent layer of yellow, which will be blended onto the midtones for this skin color. Place subtle highlights where light will be reflecting. You can add white lines near the previous line work we added for a contrasting effect. Before finishing with this video, I want to highlight 3 important tips that I noticed to be essential to the coloring of noses in this style. Number 1. Blend in 3D. Always remember that as you are drawing a 3-dimensional figure, the way you blend can help you not lose the form you worked so hard to create. Number 2. Use blue for shadows. Adding blue to the darkest shadows adds a cold temperature to those areas, hence making the dark shadows more believable, and it gives a unique coloring aesthetic to your drawing.
Number 3. The line work. Notice that when it comes to Monex's particular style, the line work he adds complete the illustrations by framing the forms. Of course, this is a stylistic choice, and if you wanted to keep your painting hyper-realistic, you could omit this step. But if that's not what you're going for, then adding the line work is a must. If you found this approach to drawing noses helpful, then you will definitely enjoy taking Monex's class on Class 101. As I mentioned at the beginning, the link to his course and socials will be listed in the description below. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite tip from this class was, and if you'd like to see me break down other classes like this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as turn on notifications for future videos. Enjoy drawing! See you later!